Auntie Akiba. I have another book to read for you. Would you like to hear it? Today, let's look at Stacey's Extraordinary Words. This is a book by Stacey Abrams. You've probably heard of her. She has run for governor in the state of Georgia, and she is a noted leader in today's world. So Stacey Abrams has written this. The illustrations are by Kit Thomas. Stacey's Extraordinary Words. Stacey loved words. She loved to read and write and say them. She adored fun words, long words, unusual words, words with wonderful histories and weird combinations. When Stacey learned a new word, it was like making a new friend. First, she would find the dictionary. Then she would look up where the word had come from and learn its secrets. Did any of its letters hide and stay quiet, like the P in ptarmigan, a bird that lives in cold northern regions? Or were they strong letters like the I in bright? And that picture is Stacey with her mom, with her books. Next, she wrote the word in her special notebook of extraordinary words. She practiced how to arrange the letters just right, how to sound them out. That's because she loved spelling interesting words most of all. Her favorite words she would try to use with quirks, remember things that made them special. When she saw a super long word like onomatopoeia, the funny word to describe the way that words sound, she had to jump and sway. Words like duckling made her grin, persnickety tickled her tongue. And it's a beautiful illustration, and that word that I probably didn't pronounce right, onomatopoeia, is on there. Sometimes Stacey thought that words understood her better than people did. When she sat by herself during recess, they never teased her about being quiet, or about being clumsy when she fell, or awkward when the joke in her head came out wrong. When she read books under the covers, words never told her to go to sleep. Words understood why she was grumpy or anxious. In fact, words helped her explain what she was feeling, if only to herself. One day, Stacey's teacher, Mrs. Blakesley, asked her to wait after class. She squirmed in her seat because she was afraid, petrified. Another way to say really, really afraid. Usually, the teacher only kept a student after class because of a blunder, a mistake. So when the teacher says, Stacey, Stacey was nervous. Mrs. Blakesley called Stacey to her desk, and she returned her spelling test. A big red 100 sat at the top of the page. The teacher asked her, "Do you know what a spelling bee is? A really smart insect?" asked Stacey. The teacher smiled. A spelling bee is a contest where students compete to spell as many words correctly as they can. I would like for you to participate. Stacey couldn't believe it. Who else will be there? I am nominating you and Jake. The spelling bee is next week. And that's Jake sitting in that chair there. Stacey's excitement suddenly evaporated. Jake was not her friend. He was a bully who knew words too. Just yesterday, he had used a complicated word that made Suki cry. Last week, she heard him say something to Ziviko about his accent. Stacey thought it was stupendous that Ziviko knew words in 2 different languages. And there's Jake walking past saying something that's not kind. Stacey knew as many words as Jake did. She wanted to say something when he said mean things to her and her friends, but she was intimidated, scared, because sometimes he said hurtful things to her too. She wished she had used her clever words to help Suki or Zviko or herself by speaking up. Perhaps at the spelling bee, she would be braver. At the spelling bee, she would not be silent. All week long, Stacey studied her spelling words from school and the ones she kept in her notebook. Still, the spelling bee felt as far away as the longest word she had ever seen. Sesquipedalian, a fancy way to describe a word with lots of syllables, and that's sesquipedalian. The days of the week were monotonous, torturous, and sluggish. Every hour felt longer and longer. Stacey wished for the week to whisk the days away. Finally, the morning of the spelling bee arrived. Stacey walked into the county library with her mother, holding her hand tight. Mama gave her a big hug and whispered into her ear, "Just do your best. Your dad and I are very proud of you." Stacey followed her teacher to the room where the other students waited until it was time to go. Then they went onto a stage. The announcer explained the rules. Kids stepped up to the microphone one by one to get their word. If they spelled it right, the announcer told them so. But if they made a mistake, a bell would ring. Ding! The student would have to leave the stage. No do-overs. You can watch spelling bees on TV sometime, and then you'll see that happening. Stacey's turn finally came. Her stomach ached with nervous energy, but she was ready. Say the word, dither. Sound it out, dither. Spell it, D-I-T-H-E-R. Dither. That is correct, the announcer called on to the next student. And the next. Promptly, enormous, shudder, transportation, craggy, reception, village. Finally, only 3 contestants remained, Stacey and Jake and a girl from another school. The girl went up to spell her word. Ding! She had spelled chocolate without the second O. "We are down to our final 2 contestants," the announcer told the audience. Jake took a long time to spell except. Stacey got squeezed, but she remembered the lost letters she adored, like Q and Z. Jake tackled clambering. Stacey conquered disengage. Then Jake defeated geometry. Stacey returned to the podium, ready to do battle with her next word. She repeated it, she pronounced it, she spelled it. INSTANTIAL. T-A-N-I-O-U-S. Instantaneous. As she waited for the announcer, the bell dinged. Ding! I'm sorry, that is incorrect. The proper spelling is. Stacey couldn't hear the rest of what she said. Tears filled her eyes, but she stayed on stage like a good sport as Jake got his trophy and she received her second place ribbon. Everyone congratulated Jake, and so did she. There's Jake with his trophy and Stacey with her second place ribbon. Good job! Jake laughed and rolled his eyes. At least I know the difference between I and E. That's not being a good sport. Now here's Stacey telling him something. Stacey felt embarrassed, but she refused to let Jake make her cry. Well, I misspelled my word, but I do know how to be courteous. You should try it. She turned away and went to find her mom. If today were like one of the stories Stacey loved most, she would have won. And Jake would have learned that words were a gift that shouldn't be used to hurt people. But things don't always happen that way in real life. Sometimes change was harder, and it didn't happen right away. Stacey felt a hand brush at her cheek. It opened her fist and smoothed out the ribbon. Mama? She put a butterscotch candy on top. Stacey's favorite kind. Having trouble turning the page. I lost. But you came so far, nearly to the very end. Not far enough. I got the letter wrong, and I didn't win. I failed. You only fail if you stop, her mother reminded her. I know there is a word for that. You know it, too. Stacey thought about one of her favorite words, perseverance. P-E-R-S-E-V-E-R-A-N-C-E. Exactly. So let's go home and learn more words. There's always next year. Stacey imagined all the words she has yet to learn. She had new words to meet, new ways to speak up, and help others. She would find them all. No, Mama, there's always tomorrow. And this last picture shows some of the things Stacey went on to do. Win a trophy at the spelling bee, graduate from college, and make a speech to her classmates, and run for office. So there's a lesson in this not only about how much words are fun, but there's also a lesson about not giving up just because things don't go right the first time. At the back of the book, there's a wonderful list of all those words. Those were some really tough words, huh? But Stacey has learned them, and so can you. So I hope that you will enjoy words. I hope that you will enjoy learning everything. And above all, I hope you'll remember, don't quit, even if things don't go right the first time. See you next time. I love you. Bye-bye.